Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Welcome to the final session of this year's Golden Age Expo and Summit, virtual summit titled Global Elderly Care Roundtable. My name is Queenie, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Project Futurists, a social enterprise that promotes the future of aging in Hong Kong. It is an absolute pleasure to be moderating this final panel discussion. And I'm sure that there are a lot of different audiences tuning in from all over the world. Would like to give a warm welcome to everyone for tuning in and taking the time to listen to our sharing today. According to the UN's latest 2020 report on our world's aging population, the percentage of older people in the global population is expected to increase from 9.3% in 2020 to 16% in 2050. And that reaches over 1.5 billion people in all over the world. That is 1 in 6 of the people globally will be age 65 and above in 2050. Nations around the world are adjusting to an aging society, and it is the same for Hong Kong here. In this virtual roundtable, we'll be sharing with you how global practices are being done, and we have invited 4 esteemed guest speakers from all over the world to share with us their views and ways to develop innovative products, services, and programs that enable healthy and active aging to meet the current and future needs of our society. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our global guest speakers who are joining us live today online from across the world. Our first speaker, Ms. Sally Hopkins, Executive Director of Eden in New Zealand and Australia. Sally has over 30 years of experience in the hospitality and elderly care field. Ms. Hopkins has worked tirelessly in educating, promoting, and mentoring care homes and organizations to have a deeper understanding of the Eden alternative model of person-directed care. And our second speaker, Ms. Kirsten Loffler. She is the Senior Scientist and Research Assistant at the Albert Schweitzer Institute of Geriatrics and Gerontology, a division of the Geriatric Health Centers in the city of Graz in Austria. Ms. Loffler specializes in the area of active and assisted living, smart elderly care and support, and training services for family caregivers. Our third speaker, Dr. Gangpong Tagaronsanti, is the president of the Senior Health Service and Trade Association Thailand. Dr. Gangpong has been an advocate and pioneer in delivering aging in place concept in Thailand for years through education, elderly homes, and geriatric hospitals. He hopes to create good healthcare system for the elderly in Thailand. And our final speaker, Mr. Keita Yumitani. He's the General Manager of Planning and Promotion Department of Paramount Bed China. Paramount Bed is a Japanese brand that specializes in medical, elderly care, and healthcare products since 1947. Prior to his GM role in China, Mr. Yumitani-san has contributed greatly to the elderly care industry in Japan and has managed Paramount Bed's business expansion in Asia for years. And now, without further ado, here's our first guest speaker, Ms. Sally Hopkins. She'll be sharing with us on how we can age in the right place. Sally, your turn.
Thank you, Queenie. My goodness, what an introduction. 30 years in the industry, I do feel a little old. But aging in the right place is an interesting concept because we talk about aging in place. So here in Australia, we are the promoters and supporters of the Eden Alternative, which is a model of person-directed care. And for a little bit of background, for those who don't know about the Eden Alternative was really founded by Dr. Bill Thomas in the late 1990s in the US. And he is a medical doctor and a geriatrician, and he went to work in a nursing home as a medical director. And what he found is that while he had his patients, as he called them, were receiving fantastic medical and clinical care, they were still dying. And then one day he had an elderly woman, and she told him she was really lonely. And Bill is a geriatrician, and he went home, he got out his Harvard medical book, trying to find the medical solution to loneliness. And there isn't one. You cannot prescribe a drug for loneliness. And that set him on the path to really think about what is going on in the nursing home space. And he thought there needs to be a difference. We need to make alternative living conditions, because the traditional nursing home model, which we do see around the globe, and we see it here in Australia, is all around task and time. And it's very institutional, and it's biomedically driven. And he said there needs to be an alternative. And the Eden Alternative was created as a model of person-directed care that aims to eliminate loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. And it is the alternative to the traditional biomedical model. Bill is an innovator. He also created the greenhouse design model. And when we put the two together, when you design for people to live in fantastic spaces, you need the operational manual to make that happen, and that's the Eden Alternative. Next slide, please. Okay, and now we move on to the next one. So from our perspective here in Australia, so our region covers Australia, New Zealand, and now Southeast Asia. We commenced in the early 2000s, and we're a not-for-profit organisation. We included New Zealand in the mid-2000s, and then as recently as 2017, we have been promoting the Eden Alternative into Southeast Asia, and specifically at this point in time, Singapore and Hong Kong, which is really exciting. And one of the things that binds us all together is we all have the same challenges, and all of us will one day be older than what we are today. In fact, every day we wake up, we're a day older if we're given the blessing to do that. And what does our own old age look like? And aging in place might sound really exciting, but to be frank, I want to age in the right place. Next slide, please. Now, how do we achieve this? Because aging in the right place is very different for every person. Next slide, please. And the Eden Alternative is really offering everybody a difference from what is currently in practice. Now, we see there are a lot of large, in the early days of providing aged care for people, we've seen really large developments of 120, 200, 300, 400 people, not even co-located, multiple story. And what the Eden Alternative aims to do is really think about, what does future aging look like? So the Eden Alternative provides an aging narrative that's really quite disruptive. It is about focusing upon the culture of care. It's a principles-based framework that's quite practical and shows you how to get from A to B over time. And it is about whole of organisation. One of the wonderful things that we've added in recent years is the Eden Domains of Wellbeing, which really aim to enhance relationships. And there's an emphasis on care partnerships and that creating home for every person. A lot of people think the Eden Alternative, they heard in the early days when Bill was talking, it's about plants, animals and children. It's actually more than that. It's about people. It's about creating home. And once you start to shift your thinking around the services that you provide, are they really institutional and time tasked, or are we looking at the person and putting them at the centre of everything we do with them and for them? Here in Australia, we, and in fact across the region, we provide experiential education, both online as a consequence of COVID and face-to-face, as well as consulting services and our best practice processes through our Eden Registry membership. And we have fantastic examples of success, because the model really does shift your paradigm of the way it is, and most of it is not well liked. It's very negative. It is not supportive. People have bad images or bad expectations of particularly nursing homes, which flows into other sectors. But what it can be, and what we do know, is that creating home is possible within a medical framework, and people are living and thriving. Next slide, please. So, elder care in the region. In creating home, no matter where you are in the world, we've all been impacted by COVID, but here in Australia, we have some particularly interesting conditions. We had a royal commission into our aged care sector in 2018 and 2019, and they released a report in 2020, which had 158 recommendations. And the recommendations were really saying the current system we have is broken. And I think that's a universal issue in general, that the way we provide, not always, but a lot of the way that services are provided is very much around a transaction. Border closures have obviously added another layer, particularly not only international, but here in Australia, the national impact. I'm stuck in Melbourne. I can't move 5 kilometres out of my living zone at the moment. I can't cross the border. And these impact on people moving around and being able to do their jobs or get a job, to be able to just to live normally. So I think that's a universal issue. We also think about the services that are provided in community care and disability services. A lot of those services stopped, and yet demand increased because there was nothing else for people to tap into. People have been disconnected. And what we have seen is, unfortunately, an institutional practice re-entrenchment, if there's such a word, which has become the norm under the guide of COVID safety. And I absolutely applaud our frontline teams and healthcare workers who are putting their lives at risk to support and keep older people safe. But one of the biggest things that's come out of this is there's been a pandemic of loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. Bill identified that these 3 plagues existed in the 90s. In fact, they've been around for decades. Only now it's taken a global pandemic for people to understand that these 3 exist, not only for older people, but actually across the entire world. And that's a sad thing, but it's actually quite exciting. So what do we do? Next slide, please. So there's an upside. So what we have seen with our registry members has been some amazing innovation. Some of this has been going on well before COVID, and particularly around that virtual connectivity. And I have a screenshot here of Wesley Mission, who were based in Queensland. And about 3 years ago, they created their own app called My Wesley app. I describe it as a Facebook, in a closed Facebook group. Every home has their own My Wesley app connection. So the elders or the residents or the clients plus staff can upload whatever's going on in the home at that particular day. Families can dial in and see what's been happening. They can see what's on the menu, what's been planned in the social calendar. And it's really enabled people to come together again. And obviously virtual connectivity through the use of Zoom and Skype and FaceTime has also taken off. But, you know, a lot of our Eden Registry places are ahead of the game, which is fantastic. There's been an increase in the strength of community, which is also around empowerment of elders and residents. And we've had flourishing, we've got people who are flourishing. The homes and centres are telling me that COVID has really enabled them to strengthen their communities, and they're becoming well known with their people. There's been a stronger development of smaller houses and neighbourhoods within existing buildings, not only building smaller houses. So the greenhouse model focuses on 10 to 12 people. Here in Australia, we have organisations building smaller houses of sort of 16 to 20 people that live, stay and play, which is fantastic. But these smaller groupings of houses or neighbourhoods or communities are developing. And that's been reinforced with COVID because the staff have been the families for the residents who are living and ageing for them, ageing in the right place. Next slide, please. A couple of examples for you in terms of innovation. On the left-hand side, we have Hawthorne House, which is based in the southernmost tip of Albany in Western Australia. This is a community centre that was built for people living with dementia. They have a respite overnight stay service. So people living with dementia can come and stay there for a day or a week or a month. And in speaking to the members who come here, they feel safe, they feel accepted, and they don't feel they have to explain themselves, which is really important. The other two photos show you a small home in Kumeu Village in New Zealand that is purpose-built memory support household. This is one bedroom on the top, and underneath it's the dining room. There's not a clinical example anywhere. So what we're saying is what we want for home is being translated into what other people want for home, and it's not the big nursing home. It is the smaller, more intimate living spaces that really engage people and enable us all to live a life worth living. Next slide, please. Finally, I just want to share this photo with you. These are two Joeys that I met at a community centre in Western Australia. Not the one I just showed you, but another one. And if we're thinking about ageing in the right place and animals are your thing, I can't think of a better way than providing that. These two little fellows were orphaned and they went to work every day with their carer who actually worked at this particular centre. And it reminds us of the humanity that we all have and that we all need. And it's exciting to see what's going on around the globe in terms of how do we enable people to age in the right place. I'd be very happy with these Joeys in my home. Thank you for listening.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Sally. Thank you so much for sharing. And I actually just brought my dog to my elderly home to visit the elders just last week. So they are definitely very surprised, and their faces are filled with smiles and joy. So I am a big fan of the person-centered care approach, especially the Eden alternative. And I'm sure it will bring many benefits to elders who are now faced with the pandemic. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our second guest speaker, Ms. Kirsten Loffler, Senior Scientist and Research Assistant at the Albert Schweitzer Institute for Geriatrics and Gerontology. It is a division of the Geriatric Health Center in the city of Graz in Austria. In her presentation, Kirsten will be talking about the person-centered care approach and the way she communicated information about technology to the people in Austria. Kirsten, it's your turn now.
Yeah, thank you very much for the nice introduction. I just will share my screen with you in a second. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, can you see the slides? Yeah. Thank you again for the nice introduction. My name is Kirsten Luffler. I'm from the city of Graz in Austria. And in the next 10 minutes, I would also like to speak about the person-centered care approach and the topic of co-creation in developing and delivering care services in Austria. but also about the topic of getting information about new technologies and the possibility of new technologies to the people, to the seniors, but also to caregivers and the families, and how our approach is going on in Austria. But let's start also with a short overview where we are from. Austria is located in, you can say the heart of Europe, the blue dot here in the middle of the map. And I'm from the second largest city in Austria. It's the capital of the federal state of Styria in the south region called Graz. And we have a population about 300,000 people, so a very tiny city compared to other places in the world. But as you can see, hopefully on the pictures, it's definitely worth a visit. So when you get the chance to travel, we are happy to invite you to visit our beautiful country and our beautiful city here. The geriatric healthcare centers are a competent center for geriatric medicine and care in Austria, and we run 2 clinics specialized on geriatric care and remobilization, but also taking care of seniors and elderlies with chronic diseases for like dementia, but also running for nursing homes and daycare centers, as well as assisted living arrangement facilities in the city area of Graz. And during the year, we care for around 4,000 patients with 800 beds and about 700 to 800 employees. So just that you get a small overview about our organization. Oh, sorry. And on the next slide, I brought you some pictures of our facilities. You can see our clinic area here on the left side and the nursing homes on the other pictures. And our history of the geriatric healthcare centers go back for around to the 18th century. So we were founded in 1724. And soon we will celebrate our 300 years anniversary. So quite a history. Since we were founded, and since the year 2000, our organization is undergoing major changes, a lot of construction projects, but also changes in the care system and care models we are using, and the approach on how to deliver and take care of the seniors in our facilities with the goal to become the European market leader in geriatrics long-term care in our area. Yeah, let's start with the first part and topic of my presentation, the topic of digital health and digitalization in the elderly care sector. When you're taking a look at the global health challenges, the global health community agreed on the fact that active and assisted living technologies and the technologies overall can have a major role in facing the challenges of demographic change. And when you take a look at the different technologies that are already on the market, especially in the elderly care sector, there is a lot going on, starting from virtual reality to chronic disease management, devices, patient monitoring, especially now in the COVID times, remote patient monitoring devices, but also technologies in smart home to assist in the assisted living area, and devices like in the picture on the right corner, a smart rolling walker that is assisting seniors in walking and mobility. We are currently working with a small firm to develop such a device. So there's a lot of things going on in this field, but we see the problem that a lot of people don't know about the technologies that are already available to them and how they can help them to take care. and to stay at home in their own living environment for as long as possible. And we try to figure out ways to get information to the people about how to use these technologies in a good way, and get the chance to visit two very interesting centers for assisted living technologies in Europe, one in Denmark and one in Germany. You can see on the pictures here, and they try to promote these new technologies to inform the people, the population, the seniors, the caregivers, and educate them about how to use these devices and products in their daily lives. It looks like this in the centers. You can see on the pictures, they have the goal to promote the health and independence of seniors, to promote their wish to stay at home for as long as possible through the tech use. And they are offering services like exhibitions, but also events and trainings to inform and counsel the seniors and the caregivers on the active and assisted living products. But I will come back to that later on, and we'll jump right into the second part and topic of my presentation, the topic on person-centered care services. We heard a lot about this topic in the previous presentation, and I would also like to focus on this topic a little bit more, because in our institution and in our different departments, it's a topic that is with us in daily business. And for us, we as European countries, we always are looking at Scandinavian countries, because they can be a role model for us, especially in Germany and Austria. When you look at the healthy life years at birth, you can see on the left part of the slide on this picture, this heart. They are doing way better in healthy life years than for example, Austria, here at the bottom. And when you take a closer look, they focus very strongly on the home care sector, the outpatient care, compared to our country, which is strongly focusing on delivering long-term care in facilities and nursing homes and clinics, compared to those countries. So for us, it's always a role model to look at those countries. And I would like to mention one example in particular, which we are working strongly with. It's called the ESTA model. It's a Swedish model, started some years ago, and they are trying to improve towards patient-focused care in the elderly care sector very strongly. ESTA as a name can be anyone, any person, anyone with complex needs of care from multiple stakeholders, including nursing, primary care, informal care, hospital care, community care services. So you can see a big group of stakeholders that are part of this care team. And in the ESTA model, it's about focusing on the patient's needs, but not in the common way where you place the patient or the senior in the middle of the care team and all the different health professional partners around the patient, and they are talking about what can we do to make everything better. But in this model, in the Swedish model, they try to place the senior, the patient, as an equal partner in the care team. So they the senior, in this case Esther, is an equal partner on the table, discussing the needs and the things they need from their care services. And so it's a new approach on person-centered care in Europe, and we are part of this ESTA model and in this ESTA group for about 2 years now. And I would also like to stress one point that is mentioned here on the left part of the slide, we are not struggling, but working intensively on. It's to communicate and to train the staff within our organizations to this new way of thinking. It's a change in mindset, and it's important that you train the people working in the nursing homes, in the clinics, to change their mindset, to change also the way of talking, because we normally have a very professional way about talking about this the care plan of seniors. But when you have the families and the seniors with you on the table, you need also to change your language. And it's just an example on what you need to work on when you have the people with you in as an equal part in this care team. Yeah, so at the end of my presentation, I would like to mention a project and the example on how we try to combine these two topics, the person-centered care approach and also the approach in getting the information about new technologies to the people in a project. And it's called House Easter. The goal is to bring several health and social services in the city of Graz under one roof, to provide all the services regarding health and social care for seniors under one roof, and to provide the information to seniors and their caregivers in a very easy way, to get information about health promotion services and also outpatient services to the families and the seniors, and also provide them with home care and aftercare after the hospital stays in a easy way, with the goal to enable their possibilities to stay in their living environment for as long as possible, even if they are in need of certain care services. And I would like to mention two topics in particular from this project we are working on. It's the part on education and research and development. So we try to include a living lab for smart elderly care in this house, in this network, where we try to work closely with universities, research departments, and also startups, other organizations and businesses in developing these new technologies and products right from the start. So to include the needs and wishes of the people who are using the technologies later on right from scratch, and develop it together with co-creation methods. So we are building up a living lab in this center. And the second part I would like to mention is also the Center for Assisted Living Technologies. We will integrate, or we are integrating in the center, like the models I showed you before in my presentation from Denmark and Germany. We will have exhibitions and also information and counseling services on how to use assisted and active and assisted living technologies in the daily life for seniors and for their families, so they can get to know the technologies, how they can integrate it in their daily lives in a very easy way, to get in touch and have some hands-on with these new technologies. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to the discussion later on to answer your questions, and also to discuss the topic of elderly care a little bit more in the discussion later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kirsten, and thank you for sharing with us the ESTER model. Again, very much appreciate the person-centered care approach. I do believe that should be the future of how care is being delivered. And I would love to be able to travel to Austria, to your latest center, when COVID is subsiding. Yes, so very looking forward to.
Yeah, we are happy to have you anytime. So
Very good. Very cool. Thank you very much. So just to remind everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to send it to the Q&A box. We'll be addressing all of your questions towards the end of our discussion. So feel free to send us questions. For our next presenter, I would like to introduce everyone, Dr. Gangpong Tagarunsanti, President of Senior Health Service and Trade Association in Thailand. He's also the founder of Tertiary Home International and Citizen, sorry. Yeah, so Dr. Gangpong.
Okay, thank you for great introductions. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, greetings from Thailand. I'm absolutely honored and humbled to be here in front of you to share my own experience in doing business regarding seniors care in Thailand. It has been 5 incredible years that I'm joining in the journey founding Tertiary Home International Geriatric Hospital, and the Citizens is a premium rehabilitation center located in the center of Bangkok, Thailand. Everyone must be aware that within past 10 years ago, the number of seniors people in Thailand whose age is 60 years old and over has been skyrocketing, reaching to 16 million people. It's a huge number. However, our growth rate of this number is like to be the highest rate in a few coming years. On the bright side, okay, it's quite huge number and it's quite a great opportunity too. On the bright side, there's a great opportunity. That's all the relevant department of Thailand will finally get closer. They work together and cooperate seriously to make the senior healthcare system more transparent, more efficient, and move forward in the sustainable way, since I have worked as the president of SESTA. In addition, our countries are also entering aging society. So all about the knowledge and experiences can be shared across the country for faster development in this industry. Throwing back in the past, for actually that I start our business, my business. Why I want to do and what I'm doing. I began at that time when I had the task to care my dear grandma. She's over 100 years old, who needs a good care after she underwent the knee surgery. So unfortunately, at that time in Thailand, there was lack of process and resources that's such a suitable capability to foster her 10 years ago. It's what life-changing point that I decided to do something, take some actions, and build a place for senior people who need further rehabilitations, who need high quality staffs and great service mind to care of them, to care the fellow Thais. It was a beautiful story of the starting point of Tertiary Home International Hospital. It is set up 5 years ago. It's a geriatric hospital that located in the center of Bangkok, Thailand. I am determined the Tertiary Home will become a premium rehabilitation center and intermediate care hospital in Thailand. With our philosophy of being an energy source for senior and their families, to giving them a holistic health care and enhancement in all the aspects of the healthcare. All the designs of the hospital services, we decided based on universal design, surrounded by the very good environment. Quality of society is a key, since the main factor that helping the seniors recover themselves physically and mentally. So we use the universal design concept to apply and design all the areas. Okay, all the seniors can access all the facility in our hospital too. We have the special clinic, such cognitive enhancement and clinic for dementia for Alzheimer's patients. It's the first clinic in Thailand. Another mission of this project, we developed together among the team with the whole patient assessment system. Before admitting all the patients under our care, everyone needs to go through CPTS. It's abbreviated form, Comprehensive Patient Monitoring System. We aim for good caring, aim for the safety before we bring the seniors who want to admit in our hospital for rehabilitations. We use multidisciplinary team approach concept to care of this. Okay, we have the multidisciplinary career work in our hospital. We have the geriatric doctor, we have the geriatric nurses, we have the physical therapists, occupational therapists, we have the psychiatrists, we have the nutritionists. We work together and we trust in multidisciplinary team concept to caring all the aspects that the patient needs, the senior needs. Okay, we have the citizens. The first is a tertiary home, is a geriatric hospital, and we also have the premium nursing home too. The tertiary home is focused on the short-term rehabilitation, but the citizens is for the long-term, mid to long-term seniors care that we provide. The citizen is construction under the concept SEN, is from safety, effortless, and nature. That we provide the nursing home. We have the multidisciplinary team approach concept too, working here. Under the family patients center approach, we care the patients what we do what they need, like a physical rehab, mental rehab, and recreational activities that's suitable for them. And we care their family members also. On the quality of organization that we highlight to pay attention to is working culture. It initiated by us is called Protein. It's abbreviated from professional, teamwork, and innovation. I believe that the creativity of young generation staff is very important. It's a key driver of the seniors care development in Thailand. So we also have daycare center that we provide the suitable activities for dementia, for dependent person who have the memory problem, to have the cognitive problems. We also have the fascinating activities like a pet therapy, animal assisted therapy. We use a dog, we use a cat. In some day we can use the friendly animals to promote the patients and seniors brain activities. It's quite popular in our facility. We have the fun group exercise in every morning. It's so popular for our residents. We try to promote the seniors who live in community to do something in our facility too, to promote their health, their social activity and social interactions. We found the Thai Caregiver Associations is a non-profit organization that provide the education and like a knowledge for the Thai caregivers to enhance their ability to care the seniors better in the future. Okay, we found the center called I Can Do, Innovation Center for Advanced Nursing Development and Operations. It is that is innovative project to improve the seniors' quality of life and seniors care. Like we have the biodegradable diapers, we have the card to facilitate the communicate to the dementia patients. We have the pudding, it's easy to chew. It's like another choice of seniors food. Okay, all of this in the future, we would like to set up the daycare center. We would like to set up the hospice care center that is I would like to be the best model in Thailand in near future. So although my work focused on the integrations of the elderly care and technology that minimize care error, improve the quality of life, I'm interested in using technology for big data management that helping in the maximizing benefit of the aspect of seniors care. Eventually, I value and improving of the seniors care, quality of care for the elder under the excellent services, good team, and professionalism. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gangpong, for your sharing. I love the pet therapy. And thank you again for really advocating and pioneering a new care model that's really focused on the elders' overall needs. And I'm sure that this is also a central theme for many of the speakers today, that placing the elder or our seniors at the center of all of our operation is the key to delivering quality care. So last but not least, let's welcome our final speaker, Mr. Keita Yumitani, General Manager of the Planning and Promotion Department at Paramount Vet China. Yumi-san will be sharing about his current work in integrating technologies to prevent fall and improve quality of life at elderly homes in China and also in Japan.
Thank you for your introduction. And I have to say, Dr. Gempong, thank you very much for using our product in your premier nursing home. Yeah. So today, I'm Keita Yumitani from Paramount Vet. I would like to share with you our work in promoting healthy, active aging in Japan. Before that, let me introduce you to Paramount Vet. Paramount Vet is a manufacturer of various products for hospital, senior care facilities, and the home care and healthcare sector. We mainly design and produce nursing care beds and hospital beds, as well as design solutions to promote seniors' well-being. Established in 1947, and we deliver products to over 110 countries worldwide. Our hospital bed comprises of 70% of the total market share in Japan. And lastly, our group principle is we create a comfortable healthcare environment through cutting-edge technology with a human touch. Secondly, we would like to share about the Japanese aging situation. As you know, Japan is experiencing a super aged society today, with over 28.8% of our population age 65 and above in 2020. Japan faces a number of challenges, including a lack of caregivers and an increase in seniors living with dementia. This does not only increase the burden of nursing care, but Japan also faces a shortage of manpower of care for our seniors. So, as product manufacturer, Paramount Vet believes that we should support aging more efficiently with technology to deliver higher quality of care. Today, I would like to share with you the work we do at Paramount Vet. First, it is important to help to support the reduction of fall from bed. As the reference shows, many accidents happen in Japanese senior care facility. Among the different kinds of accidents, fall occupies over 70%. If a senior person gets injured in a fall accident, high level of care would be required. And it would also lead to long-term immobility due to fracture or other heavy injuries. It will also take a long time to recover. So in order to prevent falls, it is important that a caregiver knows when user leaves the bed. The mat type sensor laying on the floor is often used as a mainstream. However, there are a number of feedback our mat type sensor. For example, there may be many false reports. The mat is not responsive. Users often avoid the sensor, and the mat sometimes fail to alert the caregivers. Some dementia users can dodge the sensors to not be found by caregivers. In order to resolve the above issues, Paramount Bed developed the bed exit alarm. A weight sensor is built into the motors of the bed. The person would not be disturbed by the bed sensor as the exit alarm is highly invisible. The system configuration allows the nurse call relay unit to connect bed to nurse call and detect the 4 different modes of users' movements. Even the slightest movement, such as sitting up on the bed, would trigger the bed exit alarm. And as you can see, the detection rate is very high and the misreporting rate is very low. We have been distributing this product for a long time, and today our bed exit alarm is in its 3rd generation and achieves high accuracy in detection. And many hospitals and senior care facilities use our bed exit alarm as a fall prevention device. They would first assess the user's condition and determine the risks of fall prior to setting the bed exit alarm. By applying this sensor, elderly facilities are able to reduce the number of room visits at night as there are insufficient caregivers. Instead, the sensor enables the caregiver to go to the rooms at the appropriate timing and support the high fall risk person. And the second technology I would like to introduce you to is Nemuri scan. Nemuri means sleep in Japanese. It's a body motion sensor that is applied with our company's unique algorithms. And this sensor part is placed on the patient chest below the mattress. The sensors connect to Wi-Fi and can monitor users' condition anywhere. To monitor users' condition, we use Nemuri Scan Viewer as software and app. As you can see, Nemuri Scan can understand each room's condition, such as sleep mode, awake mode, not in bed mode. Caregivers can also understand the user's heart rate and respiration rate through chat in the software. Nemuri Scan also has an alarm function. Nemuri Scan can detect sleep, awake, and more sensitive than the bed exit alarm. And Nemuri Scan has a diary function to analyze the life cycle and sleep pattern. Caregivers, users, their family can check various information of sleep. We would like to share some cases for using our Nemuri Scan. Firstly, Kyoenkai in Nagoya City reports 2 users' case. One case is an 88 years old user had less than 4 hours of sleep per day. With Nemuri Scan, caregivers changed the care plan. And they also found that the user had an itching skin and they treated the skin disease and brought the user out to the sun during the daytime. As a result, sleeping time improved to 9 hours per day. And the second case is caregivers use our data and alarm function. After the alarm notifies the caregiver that the user is awake, and the caregivers would go to the rooms and support users to use the toilet. The incidence of incontinence was reduced drastically. The need for changing bed sheets also decreased from 65 to 28 in a month. For other cases, the number of visits per day decreased from 16 to 6.6. And for accidents in nighttime is become 0. And the average number of accidents in the whole facility is from 3.4 to 1. With the use of memory scan, we experienced many successes and practical usage in the elderly facilities. We have installed over 80,000 units of memory scan to date, and over 5,000 facilities uses our memory scan. So in addition, sleep can be collaborated as part of other systems. They have developed the system connecting our device and the nurse call and the caregiving chart system. The system automatically reports to caregiving record. So they can reduce the number of paperwork in recording these data drastically. Memory scan also supports to reduce nighttime ward rounds and visiting rooms. As a result, one of the care facilities saved over 70 hours per day. Of course, not the system does not only reduce the time, but also improve service quality. They then use that time for rehabilitation, which helps to improve residents' ADL and FIM. Lastly, as a new challenge, NTT West and the Paramount Bed has established a business company jointly by providing ICT data to contribute to the discovery of unprecedented conditions by developing ICT projects that supports the maintenance of the health and well-being of the users. We strive to develop solutions that address social problems in rural areas, such as reducing social security spending and improving the health of local residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yumi-san. It's a pleasure to have you share with us on your current practice, integrating technologies within the elderly home sector. And thank you very much for everyone for the wonderful sharing. I'm sure most of the audiences would agree that the presentations today have shed light on how we can deliver quality care in Hong Kong and around the world. For the next 40 minutes, I'm pleased to be chatting with all of our esteemed guest speakers about some of the healthcare trends within their region and how they have adjusted their practice during COVID. So actually, I've prepared a few questions for our discussion, but just before we start, I do hear that there is a common theme today that really connects all of the guest speakers. And I do hear that people-centered care, it's something that all of us here are very concerned about, especially in how to improve the well-being of our elders. And whether you're from a product perspective, program perspective, or education or service perspective, I'm sure that all of us here as operators would like to deliver the best level of care for our seniors. And welcome again, and thank you once again for the sharing. My first question for everyone here is that since the outbreak of our COVID pandemic, not only are people of all ages and health conditions vulnerable to the disease, but COVID has also severely impacted the healthcare and elderly care sector, especially in the last 18 to 20 months around the world. Can you share with us on how COVID has impacted the way elderly care is delivered in your area of business or in your region? What are some of the challenges? And what have you and your organization done to adjust to the new norm in delivering elderly care and services? Would any of the guest speakers would like to jump in?
Okay, let me share.
Yep. Thanks,
Okay,
Dr.
about the widespread of COVID-19 has exacerbated the burden of public healthcare system in Thailand. So all the hospitals were full with the COVID seriously ill. So that make the treatment for the elderly in other groups like a cancer patients, like a kidney patient, heart disease patients, they cannot go to the hospital because it's totally occupied with the COVID-19 patients. The rate of seriously illness and mortality is getting high. It's quite serious in Thailand last 2 to 3 months ago. So it's affect the economy too. About the customer payout capability is getting reduced. So in my opinion about the management on focusing on the reduce the risk of illness and COVID-19 spreading in the nursing home is the best way to prevent all the things. Set the zero cases, zero case infected in my nursing home. So following I educate the staff about their personal care, wearing the mask all the times. Don't allow the family members to come in, and wash the staff hands very oftenly. So all the things that should be educate and prevent, set the zero case infected in the nursing home and care, and go to promote the seniors that live in the nursing home to getting healthier and avoid the illness. Do as we can.
I think that's also, and having the vaccine is also very important.
Yes, yes.
Completely
100% COVID-19 vaccination too.
Yeah, I've been seeing some data showing that in general that the vaccine has improved in terms of reducing the infection rates. And I do believe that this is also very important in helping to prevent the spread of the pandemic. Would Sally or Kirsten, would you have anything to add to it?
Certainly, what Dr. Yang Pong just said is happening here in Australia, and we've got increasing COVID numbers. And you know, it's odious to compare country to country because it really is very specific. But yes, being double vaccinated is a really good thing. But one of the things we noticed in the early days, so 12 months ago when there was the first variant of COVID, is that people really struggled with oh my goodness, what are we going to do? And there was a lot of pushback, there was a lot of anger, and there was a lot of fear. And particularly when you didn't have a vaccination that can help protect your staff, the elders, like everybody. Now, so what they did is everyone went into absolute shutdown and lockdown, and we here in Australia, we have different levels of lockdown. Which drives everybody nuts. It's a bit hard to keep up. But one of the things that came out, so as a service provider, you know, your relationships don't end just because COVID's happened. You know, so you really need to think about, well, how do I connect or reconnect with my community, whether it's within an existing home or across, you know, borders or whatever. And that connectivity has been really, really important. And IT has been, I think, the biggest growth area. There's been, you know, ICT stuff going on for probably 5 years now, but it's really coming to the fore, and it's become more accessible and reasonably well priced instead of being overpriced for those who struggle with, you know, budgets, all that sort of good stuff. So it's been pretty amazing. We've had to move from a face-to-face product delivery, as you know, Queenie, to online. And you know, we talk about growth, and this forces organisations that you cannot do the same things the same way anymore. You have to innovate or you'll die. You won't exist. So it's been a really interesting journey for the last 18 months. And we're not off the bus yet.
Yep, adjusting to the new norm.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Yes. So how about Kirsten? How's your area adjusting to it?
Yeah, I can totally support the things that were just mentioned. We also had to struggle with the challenges of the social distancing, the isolation in the facilities, to connect and reconnect the seniors with the families, but also connecting the staff within the facilities to get the information to the people. We had big issues with getting information to the families of the seniors in our nursing homes. We really had people phoning all the time about what is going on, when can we visit again, how is he or she doing. So that was an important issue, and also getting the information about all the vaccination stuff to the families. And during the first shutdown we had in Austria, it also there were also positive things and positive things that came out from the shutdown, because we were trying to get going with a remote patient therapy system in our day clinic. So to give the seniors who are coming to our day clinic for 9 to 12 times the possibility to have some training during this visits at home, and to give them something to have the possibilities to train at home during the days in between. And during the first shutdown, suddenly the health insurance said, yeah, of course, we can refund you all this kind of ideas and let's do this. And we were struggling with it for, I think, 2 years before to get it going, and to have, I don't know how many meetings with the health insurance, and suddenly it was, yeah, sure, why not? And that's also the positive thing. Sally mentioned the IT, the innovations and the perspectives changed a lot. So yeah, there are also good things happened.
Yeah, both good and bad things, but we're trying to stay on the positive side of things and hoping that the pandemic would subside very soon and everybody would resume their regular life and lifestyle again. I know that Mr. Yumi-san, he also mentioned to me earlier that even from a perspective of a product manufacturer, Paramount Vet has also adjusted to the new norm by integrating your technology to combat COVID. Is that right, Yumi-san?
Yes. So when COVID-19 in Japanese facilities for the elderly, the demand for sleep scan has increased to reduce unnecessary visits to each room. More characteristically, the demand for cameras as accessories for sleep scan has also increased. In the past, there were many cases where the installation for cameras hesitated from the viewpoint of privacy protection. So, however, with the consent of the user's family, the use of video was also promoted in order to achieve both infection control and the user safety.
So it sounds like that in addition to just new norms that we are adjusting to, the use of technology, it's also being repurposed in many different ways, whether it's used as a connectivity tool, or what Yumi-san mentioned, that you have repurposed the sensor system so that it can reduce the visits to the patient room without in-person contact, right? So it seems like a technology, it's also being prominently used, especially with COVID, and I've seen that with COVID, new opportunities has emerged as well, being technology and digitization being one of them. So just wondering, maybe perhaps Dr. Gangpong or maybe Kirsten or even Yumi-san, you can also, could you share a bit about the role of technology in delivering elderly care, especially in your region?
Okay, let me share. I think technology will help us in caring for the elderly rather than being totally replaceable. So we use technology for saving cost, saving the human work, saving the time, and reduce human error. I think this is an important point of using technology. For example, in my hospital, we have begun to test the system for monitoring the patients with the like a terminal ill patients, like a late state of cancer patients. We use the device. It's like a wristband, and monitor his pulse, his blood pressure, his oxygen in his blood. But we don't send the staff to disturb him for when he sleep. Okay, in the normal practice, we wake the patients up, okay, and okay, sir, it's time to monitor your blood pressure, and disturb patient the patient doesn't like that. So we use the device and monitor him remotely, and it can make him getting more satisfactions. And okay, we can use this to help us and improve the quality of life, something like that.
So it sounds like technology, it's applied in areas where we want to reduce human error, we want to improve quality service, but not really intervene in how the care is being delivered. It seems like, Kirsten, you are shaking your head, nodding. Yeah. I'm sure you have a lot of great examples to share as well.
Yeah, I can totally support that. We try to see the technology as a support in promoting the independence of people, especially for them who are still living at home, but also helping our staff to reduce errors, as the previous speaker mentioned, and also to help them in routine work. So we have, or we currently testing a fall prevention system in our nursing homes. The nurses during the night shift, they have to do certain checkups during the night to the rooms of the seniors, and with the new system we can reduce these checkups because they get an information when someone is getting up, and they know, okay, now someone is needing help. They can check this certain room, but they do not disturb the sleep of the people and do the tours during the night. So we try to discuss the use of technology with the people who are using it later on. So we get a lot of information and insights on different technologies, but we try to discuss it with the people in the facilities who are using it later on. What is making sense? Do you want to use this technology? We always have some testing phases if it really is helping like promised, but in certain areas the technology, we have to be honest, it's not helping, and then we decide, okay, no, it's more work than it's helping, and it's important to look at the thing in different perspectives, and also when we talk about supporting the seniors at home and the family caregivers, it's very important to have certain people who train them well and to get information at the beginning out there, and also support services during the first days of use on how it is working, and so it's not just here it is and now you have your answer and all is good.
Yeah, so applying it in the right place at the right time for specific purposes, I think that's important. I see that a few questions are coming in also regarding technology. We'll get back to those just shortly, almost towards the end during the Q&A section. Just to move on again, actually, I do have a question for Sally. I know that whether it is the Eden alternative approach or the ESTA approach, both approaches are focused on placing the user at the center of our operation, making sure that they're also part of the decision ring. I would like to know how important this person-centered care approach is in the delivery of care today, and what are the benefits that you see in this approach, especially in elderly care?
I might start if you like. And I just wanted to add with the on the technology side, it's not an either or option. It's really actually about that blended, and we're seeing more of that. So if we think about a person-centered approach or a person-directed approach, what are the core drivers for us? And, you know, ultimately it is actually putting human back into humane, to be honest. And it requires a paradigm shift. And to be honest, a robot is not going to give me the hug that I need. You know, we know that human touch, skin hunger exists when we are not connecting in that physical sense and whatever level of intimacy that you want to have that at. So it really is a balance, but it's about knowing your people, you know, and becoming well known is such a critical component. In the traditional model, you fill out a care plan on entry, the likes and dislikes are recorded. If you're lucky, they might be revisited once in a blue moon. Otherwise, that's it. Whereas with a person-directed model, it's saying, what are your growth goals? What do you want to achieve? When you feel lonely, what does that look like? How do we minimize your helplessness? And what makes you bored? My mother is stuck at home at the moment, and I spoke with her the other day and I said, how are you? She's 82. And she said, oh, I'm bored. Yeah, she can drive, but all her volunteering has stopped, you know, so it's all those things of knowing how do we reconnect with people and really looking at, you know, the way we've done it before or the way we've always done it is just not going to work anymore. It seriously isn't. And the way we are all talking, that's what we want. And we're not even in that age group yet. So if that's what we want now, then why are we not providing it for our elders now? Because you know what? They're part of the same group. They're just a bit older. So I know what I would want for my mother is the stuff that I want. And we need to mirror that.
Exactly. And I really like when you mentioned that skin hunger. I think we're all hungry for human touches at the moment, especially with COVID and social distancing. And I think this is particularly true and important, especially in the elderly home sector, where elders are being stuck within the institution for a very long time, where they are distant from the families and even from the care staff. So I do feel the sense of that skin hunger. And I really like that term.
You know, if the relationships are strong, then between the care partners and the elders, whether in community or within residential care home, then there's a higher level of trust and you can hold someone's hand, you know, like it's not an overreach. It's really coming down to who is this person beside me? How do we connect? What's our relationship? And it requires education.
Exactly. Would any of the guest speakers would like to share as well, especially in this area?
I can also jump in and agree with the things that were already talked about. It's important to, or for us, it's important to empower and advocate also the residents and patients to be able to communicate their wishes and needs, and also that we get in contact and in communication with what do you want, what is the goal, your motivation, what is driving you. In the therapy departments of our clinics, that's especially important because we want to know, okay, you are here for 3 weeks, what do you want to, or what do you have to be able to do after you're released again? So is it getting up your stairs to your bedroom, or is it I want to go running again through the woods or whatever? But to get to know that what is motivating them, what is driving them, and when you try to empower them to make their own decisions again, and when you tell them, okay, it's important that you tell us what do you want. I think you can create better services and also better products when you approaching this person-centered care services.
Thank you. Talking
add
about
one more thing. Sorry, Queenie.
Yes.
The other thing,
That's
like
okay.
with a person-centered approach, it really is about collaboration. In institutional model, you're told what's going to happen to you and that's it. But with a person-centered approach, it really is around collaboration with the care partners and the care receivers. So that balance of care is really important, and it's less transactional. And I think that's a really significant shift, that all the decisions that are made by organisations really that impact my life. You know what? I want to have a say in that. I've got no control with COVID. Everyone's lost that. But how I live my life, I want it to be a collaborative affair. And I think that's a key.
Exactly. And I saw in Dr. Gangpong's presentation that he has also shown a lot of images where his staff and himself also in a collaboration mode and most of the time in making decisions. And I'm sure that this person-centered care approach is also something that Dr. Gangpong has been advocating in your elderly home and geriatric hospital.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, very good. As Kirsten mentioned earlier, you mentioned about wishes and hopes, and I would like to dedicate the next 5 minutes to talk about some of our wishes as operators, as visionaries, as product producers. As our discussion is coming to an end, I would like to ask each of you here, each of the panelists here, that I'm personally very interested and passionate to know about is, since the theme for this year's Golden Age Expo, it's about reimagining smart aging city. What are your hopes and wishes on how elderly care and services are being delivered in the next 10 to 15 years? Perhaps, Sally. Yeah, thank you.
I'll start. It's like, oh no, you're sitting in the class and don't pick me. All right. I think what I would love to see is that we have more integrated communities. That it's not only about warehousing older people in one area, and particularly those living with dementia. That we want to have normal living environments. We need to go back to that community base that had existed hundreds of years ago and really reinforce that with allied health supports and all that sort of good stuff, and really pull the people back into that connection space. I have a dream. I'd like the Eden alternative model of care to be the only model. And eventually we drop the alternative because that's what everybody is doing. That's my big dream. One day maybe. And I think also that 2 other things. We really work hard at eliminating ageism because it's chronic and it's endemic. And COVID has identified that, for some people, older people are of no value. And I find that really offensive. And then last but not least, that we actually treat people living with dementia as human beings, that they're living with a disability, and we need to support them and not consider them to be other from the rest of us. And we know there is an increase of people being diagnosed with the disease. Right now, there is no cure. So we need to create living environments that support them and enable them to live as well as they can for as long as they can. They're probably mine at the moment.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you.
Okay, let's
maybe,
share.
Yeah, Dr. Genpeng, yes.
Okay, I think the aging in place concept will be widespread and acceptable for in the globally. So I think the need and for a better standard of care, like a seniors care, will be requested around the world. Business owner must respond to the change in customer behavior, the speed of change and overall lifestyle. The business owner should be updating all the times. Business owner should be accept the change, dare to experiment and modify the product and services that meet the needs of the customer and seniors behavior too in the future. For example, we need more specific cloth, like a shirt that is good for the senior skin. We need the precise medication that easy to have, that safe for their diseases, like a kidney disease. It's more precision medication for the each seniors. Like a food is more delicious and is easy to chew for the seniors. That okay, we need about the innovation that make the food to suitable for the seniors in the future. I hope that all of these are affordable price in the future too, because in the first stage, all of this is very so expensive. But in the future, I'd like to see all of this getting cheaper, getting safer, and more convenience for all seniors around the world.
Thank you, Dr. Genpeng. Perhaps Yumi-san, would you like to share?
Okay, I think we must be able to achieve two things in 10 years. One is that technology provides support to stay healthy and not get sick. This is one. And second, technology helps anyone to deliver high quality care as well as the care of a professional caregiver with a sense of human touch, I think.
Thank you, Yumi-san.
Yeah, and
I have one more. Sorry, Kirsten.
No, no, please.
Go on. You go. That's the problem when we're around the world.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think, or my hopes and wishes are that we can maintain and also regain our social interaction and the social communication again after this social distancing phase we are in right now, and that we really get it done to deliver the care in the home environment even more, and focus on this sector more strongly to create this home setting, and I want to age at the place where I can feel at home and safe. So I think we need to work in this direction, especially in the projects I'm working in with all the technologies going on, and it's important and it can support us a lot, but yeah, the focus is also on this interaction in social human beings.
Yeah, can't agree more. Sally, you have
and
something to add, right?
Which I really think is really critical, is, you know, what COVID has done is highlighted the importance of our care partner teams. Without them, we cannot provide the services that we want, but it's not valued. It's seen as a lesser role. And I would love to see that there is a career path that is clear for people who want to work in the industry, because let's face it, it's not well paid, it's not highly valued, and yet it's critically important, and we don't value them. And I would like to see that there's recognition given and there's a direct career path opportunities for people, and they're paid accordingly. They're not paid small money. They're actually paid for the skill that they bring to the table. whether they're nurses or care partners or anyone associated in that space. If we don't do that, there will be more crises than we are having now, and it won't be COVID driven.
Yeah, and can't agree more. I'm all for that. And I think for myself, my hopes and wishes for the next 10 to 15 years, I agree that we should eliminate ageism. I think ageism is in the way of everything we do at the moment. Everyone will age one day, and it's just a matter of time. So if we have a certain stigma or perspective on older people, it's also being translated as we have prejudice also for our future self. So this is something that I would like to be able to tackle maybe in the next 10 to 15 years. And I do believe that once we're able to get over the stigma of getting older, we're able to do a lot of things in a much faster way, in a more efficient way, and in a way that we would value, like what Sally was mentioning, the people who actually do the care, who deliver the care, and enabling them with equal opportunities. So coming to the end of our sharing today, we overran a little bit, but we have the next 5 minutes for some of the questions that we have in the Q&A box. There was a question that was already answered. It's regarding the Europe labor supply, and Kirsten has kindly responded, so I won't be covering that. But if people are interested, I would be happy to share the questions and answers. A few questions that I would like to address. So as a caregiver, the use of different technologies for caregivers and the elderly is encouraging. However, many elder, especially those with dementia and disability, find the current technology, for example, a cell phone, tablet, Facebook, or WhatsApp, too difficult to use. How do you help that segment of elders? Would any of the panelists would like to share on how they have helped to educate elders, especially those with dementia and disability, and help them to adjust to existing technology?
Yeah, I can give an example on how we are addressing this issue. It's of course it's important to get the users to familiar with the technology, and we are working with local training centers who are specialized in these new technologies, for example, on educating seniors with disabilities to using smartphones or tablets. They coming to our facilities, and we're having training sessions and courses in the nursing homes, in the daycare centers, so that every 2 weeks they can ask the questions and try out the smartphones, the different applications on the smartphones, to get familiar with the technologies they need for their daily lives. It's like when you need to transfer money, you need to know how to do it through the smartphone nowadays. And we try to address this issue by these courses and trainings, but also working together with schools, for example, who are offering that the kids come to the nursing homes and try to have some kind of buddy system to explain the technologies to the seniors. And yeah, just some examples on how the things are working. When you look at certain technologies addressing people with dementia, we need to be honest that some of the things are not useful for the people. So we try to listen closely. Is it working or not? And we tried out, for example, a training, a game for seniors where they can like do online bowling or riding a bike. And the people with dementia, it's too much for them. And we decided, okay, no, it's not working, it's not helping. So we stopped it, the use of this technology for this area of use. And you need to be honest, what is working and what not. So
Thank you.
Can I just add to that,
mhm.
Queenie, in terms of the technology, I think part of it, there's an opportunity to build on the intergenerational relationships that can develop, but use the tool, because it's a tool, to create really meaningful engagement and relationships with the people you're supporting. So it's not putting everybody in front of a television and sort of, trying to work it out. And we're not putting our heads into a space of what is this person seeing when they have a tablet in front of them? What does this mean? We really need to spend time with them. We had a 104-year-old aunt, and we put some photos of her life on a tablet, and we sat there with her and showed her how to move the screen. And she was surprised, at the technology. So you can imagine at 104 what she's seeing. But she'd see photos and she goes, who's that? And it was her wedding photo. So we had this lovely time with her. So I don't think that people go in with, the idea that, I've got this technology, it should work, they should like it. And, Kirsten's right, it's about some things just don't work. But here in Australia, Dementia Australia particularly, have got some really good technology they've used. They've got the virtual dementia forest. They've got a virtual dementia experience, plus they've now got goggles called Edie. So there's some really good technology about that. Part of it is around educating the staff of what it means to be living with this disease first, and then finding those single connections that work for people and tailoring it, because it is not a one size fits all at all. Yes, it's a help, but it cannot be, well, I gave them a tablet, why didn't it work? Well, it didn't work because it's not what the person connects with. And we're dealing with people where you look at they look at this thing and they go, what? Don't get it,
Yeah.
And maybe can I add one more thing? It's as I'm also working in research projects with organizations who are developing technologies, it's always an issue that you explain. It's important to include the users or the people who are using it at the end, right from the beginning. And we try to build this thinking up in our area and get this thinking out to the people to start including the users right from the beginning on what do you really want and what do you really need and what maybe is not a good idea. And you see a lot in this area going on, but when you try to work with the people right from the start, it's a lot of fun to include the users and the seniors and caregivers right from the start, and it really brings out better products. So that's also an issue you should be aware of and address.
Which comes back to collaboration, doesn't it?
Communication, collaboration, education. So I think these are some of the things that would really help to promote the use of technology in this sector. There's actually one more question which I found very interesting, which is there's a major critical issue. This is a major and critical issue in changing our culture of care, caring for elders at home. So I do believe that this the person who's asking this, it's talking about, for example, the Eden alternative approach or the Esther approach. So in general, the change of culture. Can the panel suggest how and what they can do to convince families, healthcare professionals, and the community at large? I think that's also something that is often talked about in terms of shifting the culture, the paradigm shift. Any speakers would like to address that?
Education, seriously. One of the things education and engagement, we don't engage our families enough when we're providing services. We see them as a bother. We don't educate our future clients enough, or utilise the services that are there to help support, because knowledge is power. And if we don't help to educate, then it really makes it hard. And depending on what the service delivery, I think the service delivery expectations are also another challenge. If we are marketing that, we will take care of your every need, the expectation is that's what you're going to do, and it's not possible. So there's the story and then there's the reality. But education for me is a critical component.
Yeah. Kirsten?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's about, as in Austria, I see, or we see it that way, that a lot of people, they say, okay, we are in need of care, or have people who are in need of care, please do something about it, and we get it done in the facilities. But that's not, I think we need a change of a way of thinking, that the people, they have to be empowered and advocated to do something about it for themselves, to think about it early on. How do I want to age? What do I need to achieve this goal? What services may I probably need? How is it going to work? And to think about these issues early on, and not just wait for it and hope for that it will be taken care of. So yeah, education, also changing the way of thinking, and to address this issue on different levels, not only in the health and social care sector, but also on other political sectors, political areas. Talk about it a lot. We in Austria started with the current political period we are in, that there was a plans for changing in the nursing and social care areas, but yeah, due to COVID, it all came to a halt again, and we hope that the politicians will keep on working in this field as well, to change the way of thinking about family caregivers, how important they are, especially here. About 70 to 80% of people are taken care of at home. So it really is the critical resource in our system. And we need to address it also, that the people are valuable for the system, and not just, yeah. So.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah. And one last question. There was one question about AAL technology, but I think we can, Kirsten can provide more information offline. The last question for this, to wrap up our Q&A, it's a question, I think, for everyone. So the person is asking about, is there any universal design of service that is implemented or used for better, to deliver better elderly care services? So I guess general rule of thumb on how we can deliver better elder care service. Perhaps I would start first. I think listening to our elders on what their needs are, listening to their voice, it's something that's very important. So yeah, that would be my take on the question. Anyone would like to further add to it?
I think it's an evolving space, to be honest, because we really are shifting from an institutional response to care and people to one that really is about putting the person first and in the centre. And so it's not, I don't think there's any one component that says, here's the box, plug it in, and it will work beautifully. And if you think of what's been achieved in Thailand, in a very short space of time, and it's extraordinary and it's so exciting. You know, everything is evolving and we learn from each other. And I think part of it, you know, for me right now, it's that collaboration space and partnerships, and really building on the good work that is happening and taking those ideas and expanding them further. But go back to the end users. What do you want? How do you want to live your life? How do you want to live your life? What does that look like when you are in your 80s and 90s? And then how do we make it happen? It's getting that whiteboard and starting again in some cases. It's exciting. It's going to take money. It takes political will. There's lots of things that will get in the way. But unfortunately, if you're looking for just a black box you can plug in and do, being human is not prescriptive and programmable.
That's right. Dr. Gangpang, would you like to share any of your thoughts on how, or any universal design principle that is being used for better elderly service?
Yes, about the universal design is the very important concept that should be applied all the place that the human use, like a public place, on the bus, on the in the public garden. Is a very important concept that should be applied all the place. It is quite a big problem in Thailand now. On the footpath, or the public place is quite have the big problem. It's have the big room to improvement in Thailand. I think for the new generation about the universal design should be learn more about this. And okay.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Gangpong. Yumi-san, anything to add to any service design principle that you believe would deliver better elderly service?
Our product have a very big problem. So although we are a global manufacturer, but especially bed exit alarm, also memories can also connect to the other device or connect to the network. So in the world, each country have each regulations or some very difficult situation, and so we can only a few countries to dispute our product. So we have to apply for the worldwide country more and more.
Now, so more localization. Localization is needed. Great, thank you. And Kirsten?
Yeah, I think that all the issues have been already mentioned, so I would just repeat myself again. So I think.
Yeah, I think that actually concludes our discussion. It's been a very meaningful discussion that we had in the last 40 minutes. And thank you very much all for your sharing and presentation. Despite, not being able to travel abroad, but I'm very glad that we're able to connect online virtually today from China, from Thailand, from Austria, and from Australia, and New Zealand. So I think, and Hong Kong as well. I think for us as operators or caregivers or just professionals within this industry, our hopes and wishes is really to deliver services and design products that really contribute to the well-being of elders. And hopefully that could also help assist with what we called healthy and active aging. And speaking from my role today with my social enterprise, one of the goals for us is really to promote the future of aging. And today I've learned a lot, and it has also opened up a lot of new perspectives and possibilities on how we can be better carers and caregivers in the long run. I am deeply inspired by all the profound sharing that each of our guest speakers has delivered today, and especially from their region and in their specialty. On behalf of the Golden Age Foundation, I would like to express our heartfelt appreciation for all of our guest speakers today. Thank you very much, and thank you for inspiring us. It is sad to see that the summit is actually coming to an end. Today it's the final session, so it means a lot to Golden Age Foundation, and it's been an honor to be able to facilitate this very meaningful discussion. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon. So I think for the next minute, I will leave it to Ms. Rebecca Choi. She is the chairlady of the Golden Age Foundation and the Golden Age Expo and Summit. She will be giving a closing speech for this very, very special virtual roundtable.
Thank you, Queenie, and thank you, speakers. It's a very, very informative and inspiring section. Well, friends from near and afar, what a wonderful Golden Age Experience Summits that we have had this year, despite all the uncertainties brought about by the pandemic. This is the first time that we hold this annual event in a hybrid mode so that we may connect with overseas delegates when international travel is not possible. Through this virtual platform and the physical event held in Hong Kong, we have experienced one whole month of ideas, inspirations, and actions. We have also been challenged with new thoughts and a lot of new solutions. So let me quickly recap what we have achieved and learned from the past 30 days. We have seen an exceptionally high level of energy at the physical event, which was attended by over 10,000 visitors from Hong Kong at the end of August. Everyone was very passionate in making connections, discussing collaborations, and coming up with actionable plans. We have also presented the Smart Aging Awards to 30 corporations, social enterprises, NGOs, educational and research institutes that have introduced outstanding services, products, and programs to enhance the quality of elderly life and embrace independent and dignified aging. We have also examined community-based solutions to health and elderly care, as well as ways to boost productivity among the elderly. We have witnessed the social projects that are developed by Golden Age Fellows at the Physical Expo. Efforts have also been made to promote digital-based innovation. At the Connect and Match area at the Physical Expo, we have successfully introduced promising startups to impact investors and direct clients from trade associations. Professionals from various sectors have also lined up with our Expo members and speakers for further collaboration. So population aging presents huge challenges, but we also see ample opportunities. This year, we heard from over 60 global and local speakers that such opportunities will not be fully utilized unless public and private leaders act now to prepare for this demographic shift. The private sector should adjust its thinking and look into the growing economic power and needs of matured adults. But at the same time, they should also look into the underutilized resources of golden ages, i.e. people who are 45 and above. Corporations that are purpose-driven and work for the well-being of citizens will deliver social value for the communities where they operate, which we have heard from our global and local speakers. But at the same time, they will also attain high economic value for their shareholders in the long run. Simultaneously, the government has to play a critical role in engaging the private sector to tackle this unprecedented issue. It is time for policymakers, decision makers from different sectors, as well as the average citizens to develop trust and come together as partners in meeting the challenges of population aging. It is clear that the way we work, the way we live and age has been greatly changed, and the features of global value chains will differ in the next normal. We should not only deal with the imminent pandemic, but we should also focus our attention on turning this crisis into an opportunity for innovation and for adapting to the shifting needs of the post-crisis world. It is very essential that we innovate our healthcare and medical systems and harness the power of the community to leave no one behind. Quote, "A crisis is a terrible thing to waste," unquote. Indeed, the challenges and hardships from the coronavirus are unprecedented. But throughout history, recessions and crises have also proven to be breeding grounds for innovation and defining the next normal. The most important thing is the willingness to change, to meet the long-term needs of our society and take action with empathy to care for our aging and future generations. The collective power of these positive actions by different sectors brings us hope and shows the way to a better future. Before closing, I'd like to send my most sincere thanks to our sponsors, partners, supporting organizations, speakers, and facilitators from around the world who have made this hybrid event possible. and my heartfelt gratitude to my Golden Age family. Yes, family, not just a foundation, which includes our volunteers, members of our executive committee and organizing committee, my amazing colleagues at the Secretariat, who have worked passionately to deliver this special event to us. Together with our audiences, we had experienced a truly wonderful time together. So stay connected, stay healthy and passionate. Let us know how you have put the inspirations that you have from this section and from the entire event into actions. So hope to see you again next year. Goodbye and thank you.
Thank you. And thank you very much, Rebecca. I would like to also, on behalf of the Golden Age Foundation, would like everyone to take a minute of your time to cast your votes in our poll for the Global Elderly Care Roundtable. There are a few questions that we'd like to hear from us in terms of your feedback. We look forward to seeing you all again in the next session and next year in 2022. And hopefully in the meantime, everyone take care and yep, stay well. Thank you, everyone.